Welcome to the Wheel Wide channel. Wide for the team Shaq. Oh man, it's gonna be a very, very dope conversation. I got some of the OGs and I got some of my partners, and we're gonna talk and we're gonna have a real good conversations. This is season 3, episode 12. But before we get started, y'all know, drop that beat. Seem like that beat just get good every time I play it. Oh man, I just love it. Welcome to the Wheel Wide channel. I'm Shaq. Oh man, I got some OGs as I stated. I'm gonna go around and let you guys introduce yourself. Normally, what I do, I go around and get the people some game on who you guys is and where you from. But I'm gonna just go around and you guys can introduce yourself, man. And welcome to the Wheel Wide channel. We glad to have you.
I'm a regular on the show. So, hey, all your audience members should know who I am. I'm Brian Greenlee, the one and only. I am a retired veteran right now, just doing daddy, grandpa duties, and just living life and doing the best I can.
Okay, this is Alton, living this dream that they call dream life, aka Chris Raul. I'm just here to have fun with Shaq and the rest of them, and we'll get this perspective on point.
All right, y'all. Peace and salutations. This is Linnell coming from good old dirty Jersey, and I'm a vet as well. Served in the military, 16 plus years. I got some sand on these feet of mine, so I'm glad to put down some roots and finally live life to its fullest.
Again, Linnell, thank you for joining us all the way from Jersey. This is episode 12, like I stated. And, we talk about a lot of stuff right here on Wheel Y. We talk about 9 to 5s. We talk about business. We have even talked about relationships, women, anything, you name it. But the thing that I just noticed what all of you guys have in common is you all guys are veterans. And which is actually a good thing, but I kept wondering, what can we talk about? Like, what can be a good discussion to just talk about that's on people's mind these days? We know that this world is crazy right now with inflation, gas prices, corporations just acting so greedy. You go in the store now, it's $5-6 for something that was a year ago that was only $1. So what can we talk about? And according to the producers, man, they helped me to appreciate, why is the past still a stumbling block for people? Now, that brought my mind because the only thing I could think about to answer that question is the reason why it's a stumbling block for people today, mostly Black people, is poverty and emotions. That's what I think about, because if you think about it, man, we based a lot of our decisions based upon emotions. I mean, we shop based upon emotions. We marry based upon our emotions. We hate each other based upon our emotions. We can't even start a business because of our emotions. We shoot and kill people based upon our emotions. And it goes on like that. So I think until people get over their emotions, it's going to always be a stumbling block for our Black people, as well as people in general, because people don't know how to let go. So I just got you guys on here to get you guys' perspective and what you guys think about, because even when you talk about the poverty standpoint with the dollar amount, right? Poor people talk about other people. That's what we see our Black people doing, talking about other people. Rich people talk about things, right? Wealthy people talk about ideas. The wealthy people and rich people ain't doing that. It's always the property people that talking about other people and can't get over the past because they are traumatized right? So I just want to go around the room. OG Brian, strangers to the show. We maybe can start with you. What you think? I mean, why is the past still a stumbling block for people?
I'll open up by saying hurt people. And what I mean by that is, we're talking about emotional trauma and things that have never truly been resolved. And I get it. A lot of people want to say that happened so long ago. Why can't you just move forward and focus on the now? Well, my question to them, what is so long ago? Because people can experience being raped one time. It doesn't need to be multiple times and still affect their entire lives afterwards. Their interaction with people, building relationships with people, and just having a normalcy. We just talking about one thing, the idea of rape, incest, being murder, all these things. I know I'm talking about really complex issues and traumatizing issues, but if things are not resolved, we are constantly going to keep looking backwards. And as we're looking backwards, we're not looking forward. So therefore, we're stumbling our way through the progress of moving forward. So I say hurt people. And when you're not really focused on trying to resolve those traumatizing issues that keep popping his ugly, nasty head up, we're always going to have this problem. We're always going to keep looking past and stumbling at the same time, trying to have normalcy in our lives. So that's my opening remarks.
Okay. Okay. Well, what about you, Linnell? What's your take on it?
So I'm definitely a man that I'm reflective, meaning I like to learn from my mistakes and any missteps. And I believe as people of the global majority, I believe that we haven't learned from our past because we haven't really truly acknowledged where we were. And when we don't acknowledge where we were, if we don't acknowledge that place that we were in and learn from those mistakes, learn from those missteps, it can be something as simple as, again, tripping and falling. Finding out why you tripped, finding out why you fell definitely gives you more of a prowess to not make those same mistakes again. And that's just something really simple. But as far as us like unlearning those traumatic, learning from those traumatic places and those traumatic events that we've gone through, acknowledging that, we can start to heal. So we can no longer be as hurt as people. Now, is it going to take some time? Yes. I truly believe that there is no timeline when it comes to the healing process. So we have some healing to do. But I pose another question with that is, when do you want to start healing? And the reason why I'm asking that is because a lot of people, especially within our community, have a tendency to love to be the victim. They've fallen in love with being a victim in victimhood, where it's always this woe is me mentality, and someone has their foot on my neck. Eventually you get tired of having a foot on your neck. And for me, maybe it's that light skin in me, maybe it's that Nat Turner in me. But I'm not going to sit here and have this foot on my neck for so long. I'm not going to sit here and shift responsibility for my trauma or my hurts when it comes to my growth as an individual. Now, as far as a communicative effort, to take this from Rosa, or not even from Rosa, but to take this from Harriet, you can't take everybody with you. I wish you could. I really wish even those that don't know, who don't possess that knowledge, just to give them that glimpse of this is what life could be if you just took these things from your past and threw it away. Took these things that you did from a place of hurt, or you did from a place of lack of knowledge, and you just set it aside just for a moment, just to get a better glimpse of who your higher self can be.
Mm, mm. Wow, appreciate that. What about you, OG Alton?
Well, y'all hit on something pretty intense, and I would say like this: in the definition of stumble, they always say that's the beginning of fall. It's not that you fall already; it's more like a warning. It's a mistake. It's letting you know that this opportunity is about to happen, or a situation is about to happen, and you need to step up and figure out if you're going to keep going that way, completely fall, or back up and retool. So I would say in the military, a lot of times we would have risk assessments, and those ways we would sit back and talk about what's going to happen for whatever immediate future situations. Well, in life, we don't have all that. Sometimes we have to take those challenges as they come, because we never have issues, we have challenges. So a lot of times people stumble because of not having, you know how they say that it takes a village to raise a child? Well, it takes a village to actually navigate through this life. And I'll say that again, it takes a village to navigate through this life. You have to have others with experience, others with ideas to bounce some of your ideas that you're going through, so you can get a clear message of where you're going. The other thing is you got to have some observations. Everything doesn't have to be talked about, and everything doesn't have to be moved. Sometimes sit back and watch others and not applaud other people's stumbles to try to make yours be a lot less softer, and when it's time for you to fall, in a sense of seeing it. So experiences really matter, and just focusing on the intent of what it is. And the reason why we all do that is sometimes we do a lot of me personalities, me traditions. We learn from other people instead of trying to embark on some new things.
Mm. Wow, well, I appreciate you, OG Alton, and I like the fact that you brought up experience, because I was going to actually ask you guys, do you guys think about it as experience? I know Brian alluded to hurt people a lot of times, and I know you said OG Alton about me, and a lot of time is why. You know, they can't get over the fact, like, well, why this happening to me? Why this happening to me? I just did this. I got over that. Why this happening to me? You know, but we have to understand, and the viewers at home have to understand, that a lot of times you're hurting yourself, right? Because your inner me is your enemy, right? Your inner me is your inner me. So a lot of times, if you just put that in perspective, we're actually hurting ourselves. So I want to dig deep on this though. I know we all gave some very intense feedback with that. We all did that. But when you talk about the past, do you think it'll ever be a time where 70%? Because I think right now 82% of just from our race can't get over their past experiences or a stumbling block. You think about a woman. I don't even want to get down that route. You know, the relationship she had with her father, right? Not having a father in her life. Now it's that trauma bond, right? It's breaking that trauma bond for her to get over her past. You think about a guy that was raised with no father in his life, right? Happened to be the man of a house at the age of 15, 14, you know, being introduced to prison, drugs, all of this type of stuff, right? So do you think there'll be a time where 72% of our people as a collective whole will get over these experiences? I know OG Alton kind of alluded to learning from other people, but do you think it'll be a time where we all can just say, you know what, the past is the past. I'm worrying about my future, because it's all go back down to confidence, having confidence within yourself.
There is a part that I would say that there was times where you were, a lot of people that were young, they used to eat at the table together as a family, and you bounced ideas off of parents, and sometimes parents led conversations based off fear, and they even taught their children and guided their children based off fear. And during those times, you had to, and then as the generations went on, fear went away a little bit, and we gave too much leeway. So, to answer your question about the thing about why or will there come a time, we're getting there. As a culture, we are getting there. As much as media tries to show it differently, we are getting there. Education is getting better. There is times where people are trying to give us stumbling blocks, but we are getting better as a culture. Not in the micro sense, in the micro, in the mic, in the mic, not in the macro sense, in the micro sense, we are. Because if you look at your neighbors and things that you're dealing with, if you're in diverse neighborhoods, before we couldn't even get, Black culture couldn't even get a house. In Atlanta alone, if you got a house, it was a house with a lot of problems. So we're starting to get better in our economic growth. We're starting to get better in our educational growth. We're starting to get better in our family growth. There are more men in the homes now, where it wasn't that way before.
I I I understand the idea of not focusing on the woe is me, and I get that. We identify a problem, we build solutions to the problem, and we move forward. But sometimes these damn obstacles that are coming in our way are not self-inflicted and self-induced. So we have, to your point, Alton, I think we become better at adjusting and agility and jumping through and getting over them, not per se eliminating those obstacles, which they should not have been there in the first place. So I understand the idea that we need to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and move forward. But then there are obstacles that's thrown in our way, has been in our way, and constantly continue to be in our way, that's not self-induced, that we need to acknowledge in order for us to move forward as a collective whole, as a collective community. Individually, those ideas work. Individually, you may be the one that come out of that neighborhood and been successful. But collectively as a whole, the community still suffers. So, our counterparts will like to say, hey, if you just go to school, get good grades, and you come from a great home, you're going to be successful in life. That's all generalities. And maybe there might be one successful person out of that community that moves forward and leaves the community. That's another problem. Leaves the community and going to do great in life. But again, collectively as a whole, I think we have obstacles that's in our way that's not something that we put there. We have put obstacles in our way, but a lot of them have come from other directions. So the idea of us just, get over it and move on, I think that's not a real thing without some real substantive discussions and really look at the root cause of why we can't move forward.
Now, Brian, you bring up some really great points. Dave, you bring up some really great points as well. From my perspective, I believe that it is definitely a collective contribution. Yes, do we necessarily accept our position in this world as far as being African American, being Black, living in America, having to deal with the systemic and systematic forms of discrimination, racism over the past years. That's something that we've had to deal with and grow up through. And it's been as a collective people. And in the same breath, we kind of shoot ourselves in the foot when we have this form of colorism that we've adopted from this form of discrimination, i.e., the paper bag test, the whole light skin versus dark skin thing. I've heard it before, but it's always been some forms of self trauma that we've kind of adopted from an unlearned and unhealthy place. When we do things out of ignorance, we are normally doing things to impress, and it's based off of somebody's imprint. The same thing with being a parent. At some point, we all got whoopings before. We all done got our tails whooped before. We didn't, go outside, cut me a switch, and you gonna bring it back in. I'm gonna wear your tail out.
Right.
Yes,
And it's always been from a place of a disciplinary place. So for us to, as a parent, especially me as a parent, having an 18 and a 6-year-old, for me, it has definitely been unlearning a lot of the things that traumatized me as a child and not passing them on to my kids. Is it soft parenting? No, because it sometimes, in some ways, I've had to learn other ways to discipline my child or my children. And now it's been more of me unlearning those unhealthy things and applying them differently to life and my walk as a man and as a Black man in America. So I see both perspectives as a collective, and even just within the public and even within our communal standpoint, we got to give ourselves something to respect again. We got to carry ourselves with a certain esteem and a certain confidence so that, we kind of change even our perspective of ourselves. Because a lot of times we have a tendency to disrespect ourselves because we don't respect ourselves. We do things, we have vices and behaviors that don't honor us. So for me, is getting back to that root of respecting self. Because I believe once you respect self, you can respect others, and you can still allow others to have their opinions and their thoughts and their beliefs and respect them.
Appreciate that, Danielle. Appreciate all of you. And I know OG Alton brought up about we're getting better, and there's a lot of more men in our home. I gotta disagree with you on that. I don't know if that's in Dallas. That's just a Dallas thing because you like the Dallas Cowboys, but right here in Georgia, that's not going on, bro. And the reason why I say that is because crime rate has went up. Inflation has went up. So many things. We will kill someone based upon a principle. Let me break that down. When I said I had a chance to talk to an individual who, serving a 20-year sentence in incarceration and the feds. And I'm like, listen, you killed a man over a cigarette. Why would you do that? He said, no, I killed him because of the principle. He lied to me. So Black people are killing people based upon a principle. And this just recently happened. So it's like, when are we going to get to a point where it got to stop? And I think what Linnell talks about within the self, which I got to agree with, because it's all about when you have that self, it's all about building that confidence. There's 3 types of confidence, what a wise person once told me. He said, number 1, confidence that comes from things. Things can be taken and confidence can be shaken. Number 2, confidence that's come from your abilities, right? And having an ability where you can be disabled, paranoid, any type of where your confidence can be taken. But the most important thing, the number 3, when you are confident in who you are. See, this types of confidence makes you believe in yourself, like Linnell said. And when you believe in yourself, that confidence can only be taken by death. So I hear you, OG Alton, but like I said, I don't think we're getting better. I think that society makes us think that we're getting better, but we're not getting better. I mean, you talk about the man in the household for who? Right here in Georgia, if you give a woman food stamps, right, or Section 8, you give her that, right, but that father can't be in that home. They're still using that 1970s where in the 80s and the 90s where if we get caught being in a home, you lose the benefits. And most of our men are even locked up, right? And we see stepfathers, we see 18-year-olds raising their younger brothers, their younger sisters, being a man in the house. We don't see men. And then you said education is getting better. No, we see more women in college institutions than we see men. So, I mean, I kind of got to disagree with you on that from that perspective. But like I said, we have to build that confidence within itself.
I really have a different, unique perspective on this one. So just a glimpse into my background. I wasn't raised by my mother or my father. I wasn't raised by my grandmother. I was raised by my great grandmother and my great grandfather. So my values, my views, my beliefs are a bit different across two other generations. Dare I say three, which has kind of made me have a different perspective. Now, I didn't grow up with every luxury, like most of us. I had a great sense of myself because of the father figure that I found in my great grandfather. One thing that he used to always ask me, no matter before I walked out of the house to go to school, he said, "Who are you?" And I would recite my full name. And the one thing I would say is, I am Linnell Brandon Witcher. I'm a Black man. And that's something that even to this day, I still do. And I take pride in being a Black man. I take pride in being a father. I take pride in being present within my community. Now, with that me being present, that also means that I am open to a lot of criticisms. That also means that I am open to a lot of persecution, even when doing something as simple as holding someone that I hold dearly, holding them accountable. This is family, this is friends, this is acquaintances. And a lot of times for me, I've lost people because of it. But at the same time, that's based off of my principles and my beliefs. Now, will I kill someone over my principles and beliefs? I don't believe so. Will I take a life for principle and belief? I don't believe that either. But what I do believe is I believe in respecting someone's beliefs, respecting someone's principles. In turn, I can only trust that they can do the same. Now, coming full circle, we have to make better choices. We have to be taught how to make better choices. It is very difficult, especially within our day and age, to raise children, to even find a partner that is communicable, that is somebody that wants to cooperate with you, your vision and your purpose, especially when it has to deal with raising children. Now, a lot of the times I've seen the choices that our people have made in the past based off of limited information, i.e., this person only show them enough of them to be sexually intimate, or enough of them to have that bond. But then what they think is an intimacy bond, they're already building a trauma bond. And it's based off of, again, those learned patterns. A lot of women are taught to manipulate people from a very young age, i.e., mommy and daddy business. If mommy told me no, all right, cool, I'm gonna go to daddy, or I'm gonna go to Pop or ask Nana for it because Nana told me no, but Pop gonna tell me yes because he loved me. He want to spoil me. So I've seen this on so many occasions, and it be applied even as adults. So for me, we have to unlearn a lot of behavior and a lot of patterns that have contributed to the demise and to the diminishment of the Black community?
Unlearn to relearn, unlearn to relearn, unlearn bad habits, unlearn those things that's been taught to us either visually or imprinted on us as a young child. Because you and I are not the same from when we was a 10-year-old to a 18-year-old to a 25-year-old, and I am now 52 years old. We are totally different people at those stages in life. And as you get to 52, and I pray for many more, you gain experience. I think we have a problem with a lack of control with the emotions, with the gentleman that took the life of someone simply because he lied about smoking, whatever it was. That is frivolous. To snuff out a life based off of principalities. Again, there are things that we as a community definitely need to work on. I am not excusing any of the violence that is self-inflicted on another person of color. We have to definitely change that. I am never on board with that. And I do believe that is something that collectively as a whole, as a community, we have to get a check on. But you can do two things at the same time. Acknowledge the fact that we have a problem in the community, but also acknowledge the fact that we have a history in America that has a nasty underbelly of America that still needs to be acknowledged. And why we are still having a lack of progression. And I'll say this, we are, and I've said this many times before, we are in our infancy stage of post-slavery. And there's an active, deliberate attempt to bury the past, and that is a travesty to American history. It is a travesty to American history that we want to only uplift one part of history, smother and remove another part of American history, because Black history is American history. That's just my thoughts. Black history is American history, and there's an active, deliberate approach to eliminate it. And we can acknowledge two things at the same time that they exist, that there's a problem in the Black community that we can address and solve by somehow showing young Black men and young Black women that they are important, that you are beautiful, that you have self-control, and that you are going to be somebody. You are someone, not going to be. You are. There is a lot of information out there that some of it is framed and structured to show Black people are the enemy. Black people are violent. Black people are uneducated. Black people only want to just sit back and have babies all the time by different men. There are so many stereotypical things that are thrown onto Black people that we have to actively fight against. And I do have a grandchild. I have 3 grandbabies. I am not the same I'm not the same person that I was with my children when I was raising them. And they often tell me, Dad, you are not the same. We could not have said these things that you are now looking at your grandchildren. And I'm like, well, because I'm wiser now. The things I did when I was a young parent, because I didn't have someone to kind of help guide me through those decision making. I only knew what I experienced as a child. I'm imprinting that on you. But now that I am grown and 52 and I have 3 grandbabies, talking is more of the answer. Let me explain things a little bit more than to just rip your damn head off and beat you to death, because that's only going to make people afraid of you. Not that they respect you. They make you afraid to share a thought, and there's a dialogue that's got to happen. I know I said a lot, man. So a reason why we still have stumbling blocks is lack of emotional control. And there's just definitely just got to be a dialogue that's got to happen, and we can't move forward until the dialogue takes place, and an acknowledgement that yes, black people were lynched. Black people were not only before they was lynched, body parts were cut off of them. I mean, that's sick. And we are acting like it didn't even happen. Those are the emotional traumas that the black community still suffers from, and you have someone that just tells you, get over it.
Go
Did you
ahead
say
now.
something? Did you say something about Dallas?
Oh, I sure did. I said, it wasn't, this is Georgia, and everything that you was talking about maybe happened in Dallas or maybe even in Arizona somewhere, but that's not going on down here in Georgia, bro.
Oh,
That's
well,
what I
state of
said.
Georgia, the state of Georgia is the highest off the charts for black America. Our economic growth is in Georgia. Now, I would tell you the middle class works so well in these certain cities. Now, we are talking about a big city, San Antonio, Chicago, New York, and guess what? Dallas is part of that too. So the middle class is working pretty good in Dallas. Just saying. But no, overall, I would tell you like this: as a growth, we as Black people have made some tremendous changes in our financial growth. I'm not saying that that's everywhere, and I'm still talking about that's big picture. If we slim it down to, let's just say Savannah for this conversation in Perth, there is going to be a lot of different sides to every city. And we're going to have a lot of people take shots at individuals based on emotions. You brought that up earlier. And emotional in the way they do business, emotional how they talk to each other one on one, emotional in the family. That Brian gave a good point. He used to be emotional with his kids. Now he talks to the grandkids because we're going off a lot of things that we were taught. Now, are women going out and having welfare checks and things like that, EBT as we state, and the man can't be there? Yes, but there is ways there economic growth that we're having where men are actually getting some decent jobs to actually be able to be a provider in the home. And are they stepfathers? Yes, I love stepfathers. I'm one of those guys. We are the most unappreciated men in America.
Say it again.
We're taking
Salutes
the
to all
slack of
stepfathers.
the
Salute,
guy.
salute to all stepfathers out there. Salute to all stepfathers.
We're taking the step to the guy who didn't want to take that step to stay there for whatever reason it is. And I'm not sitting there pointing fingers, but for whatever reason. So what happens is that stepfather steps in and puts on a Superman jacket and said, let's go. And he carries that family wherever it may go, as long as the woman allows him to lead. So those are those are the issues we have when it comes to that stumbling. Because as a man, you get scared. You have a child, you get scared. You're thinking about the financial portion. You're thinking about how this child's going to be raised and who's going to raise it. Can I do it? I ain't never did nowhere. I've never been anywhere. I've never even took care of myself. I've been living with my mom and daddy for I don't know how long. I can't hit the streets like I used to. We're even growing up. Can't hit the streets like I used to. Can't hang out with the boys. I can't bring this baby to the bar. No women gonna talk to me anymore because now all of a sudden I got a baby and I got to be all predicated on this one woman because she had a baby with me. And I made a mistake because this is not the one I wanted to have it with, but I did do the duty to have it. So I would say that those are the things and that's where those stepfathers do come in and less emotion in it and just walk it through. So I go back to the premise of what you're saying. We as a community have to learn how to work together. We as a community have to learn how to work together. We do. We celebrated the brawl that all of us seen in Montgomery, but yeah, and okay, you can say there were some wins, there were some losers, all to that, and we made a lot of memes. Everybody's seen them, but overall, we do as a community have to get better at working together with everything we do with family. I don't know all the answers. Hey, look, my son came home and said this. Brian, what do you think about that? Hey, Shaq, my child wants to get into entertainment and production. What you know about that? Hey, Linnell, this is what's going. Those are things you can't. As a man, you can't sit there and be like, I'm so prideful that I can't get some information from other people.
Man, I agree with you. Now, I definitely agree with you. And I guess it was a Dallas, Georgia thing, but you definitely helped me to appreciate that I need to look at things from a global standpoint and stop being limited into a Savannah, Georgia thing. So appreciate you on that. You also indicated that, far as the, working together. I do think most people need to work together, but considering working together, I know we crapping for time right now. Um, if we could just all go around the room, I know you brought out working together, OG Alton. What are the solutions? What are the answers? We could just maybe get one or two. I know Linnell brought up his name and Brian was talking about slavery. Could we arguably ask ourselves right here on this podcast, is our first name and our last name free from all stumbling blocks in life? Notice I said your first name and your last name because it's different, right? It was given to you, so you have to honor it and cherish it to those that gave it to you. So, are our first name and our last name, is it free from stumbling block? Maybe that is something we need to think about. But what are the solutions? What are the answers? If we can just go around and give one or two.
We're always still going to have stumbling blocks in life. There's no doubt about it. But what we can do is acknowledge it and hold people accountable. Not to take anything from Linnell, man, he was dropping some serious knowledge and information. So we definitely have to hold each other accountable. Like I have a text group that I send information out to the men that I think are important to me, and on a not daily basis, but a weekly or every other week, like I send out something just to encourage other men because we need encouragement. Whether we can sit up here and say, "Oh man, I'm good, man, I'm rocking it out. I do it all my damn self." Yes, me, myself, and
Right.
I.
Right.
However, it's still important to have a nucleus of men that we could help and uplift each other because it is a difficult time. Another thing, I'm not looking for a handout. I'm not looking for the government to do anything because the government already knows the government's going to do what the government's going to do. I'm not looking for a miraculous epiphany from the group of people who are in control and set the framework of how we are viewed. I'm not even looking for that. It starts with us. It starts with us acknowledging and education. Education is so damn important. Education is so important that we need to do our due diligence to educate our household, train our child in the ways where they will never leave, no matter how old they get. And I think, Linnell, you spoke to it eloquently, how your grandparents, I believe you said it was your grandparents, or your great grandparents, your great grandparents influenced you and gave you the seed. They planted the seed in you to now that you're a grown man, you reflect on that. So I'm not going to, I can say a lot, but basically education is the power. Education has the key. And if we do not continue to unearth American history from a Black perspective, we'll always be lost and we'll always have the stumbling blocks in front of us.
A solution. So my perspective again, this is mine. This is just all alone. I don't believe there's going to be one solution. I believe that we need multiple solutions because we're no longer treating symptoms within our community. We are treating we're treating a pandemic. We're treating a generational pandemic that has been systemic for us for over 200 plus years. And what we are, again, doing, I believe is going to take us some time. I don't believe that we are going to be free of the things that we have learned unless we free ourselves. And with that, I believe that progressive information in education, so it definitely goes back to a point that Brian brought up about education and us learning more about ourselves and learning who we are. And you brought up my the point of my grandfather, and I passed that just that one little ritual. I passed that to my kids. I passed that to my daughter, who's 18 now, and I've learned that I've had to change how I parent with her because she's an adult now. So I'm more or less of a parental advisor versus a parent. So I give advice. She can follow it. She cannot. Now, my son, a little different, but I believe that we need more solutions because we have so many symptoms that we're treating because it's grown beyond us to a singular standpoint. It has to be. We need a vaccine. We need something that's going to eradicate this pandemic that is overly swept our community, and it's just something that I don't see us doing anytime soon. We're working towards it. We're making progress. Yes, we make economical and educational advancements, and we've made some advancements in innovation. But for every advancement we make, there's something that happens again that has us take a step back. And we've experienced that. We've experienced that on so many levels. The most recent one, again, this young gentleman decided to take this life, and even with the Mississippi Steamboat incident, that's been something that it's been seen as a step back and has been seen as a step forward too. So I wish I had one solution, but I don't have one solution. We got a couple that we need, my brothers.
Let us not stop believing in the next generation. Keep having faith that the next generation is going to make a change, and whatever that change is. We can't hold the post on that. We keep educating. And for every person that can ever hear this, continue to foster the dream of a child. And that's what's going to be the solution. Continue to foster the dream of the child. Don't ever let a child feel like they're less than something, they can't do it. So foster the dream of the child and keep believing in our next generation. And I think that's the only thing we can do because all the other things are always going to be a challenge. That's my take.
Well, as we come to a conclusion, I agree. And I just want to give out this quote about, I remember reading it one time. Al Williams once quoted, "All you can do is all you can do. And all you can do is enough. But make sure you do all you can do." I just like to share that quote because I know you brought up the whole generation. And I think, OG Alton, we do need to think like wealthy people, because if you think about poor people live paycheck to paycheck. Rich people live year to year. Wealthy people live generation to generations. And if we work together along with the solutions, and I do agree, Linnell, that we need vaccines, to heal this stumbling block that people face, these multiple stumbling blocks that people face. So we appreciate you guys coming on the show, giving you guys take. What's next for you guys? So anybody got anything, like they got anything coming next? What's next for you? I know, Brian, you do the photography and all of that, but what's next for you guys? If you want to share to let the people know where they can follow you at, how they can get in contact with you if they want to learn more and get more, if you can drop more gems.
So
Anybody?
I've been embarking I've been embarking on jumping in to my creative side of the house. I'm an artist. I paint, draw, sculpt. You can find me on Instagram, most social media at the moniker of at I do more than skate. And that's SK8. So I do more and then SK8.
Say that
I'm
one more
also,
time, Linnell. Say that one more time so they can catch it. One more time. I'm sorry, brother.
okay. So you can find me on most social media at I do more than SK8.
Go ahead. Go ahead and finish. I'm sorry.
In addition to that, I'm also embarking on a new business in art. So I paint, I draw, I sculpt. You can also follow my business, which is called at the Brush and Canvas Society. And I have a gallery showing coming in October in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Wow. Appreciate that. We see you all over the place. We see you all over the place. You do artwork, gallery show. You got a business, man.
I'm just trying. I'm sorry. I'm out here just trusting God. That's all I'm doing.
Hey, that's it. That's it. We gotta trust and have faith in God.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Yeah. Hey, you know, nothing just happens. Nothing just willy nilly. There's always a purpose and plan in everything. So just as we're talking about our upcoming activities and what we're going to do, I didn't know my brother Linnell was an artist. I'm an artist as well,
Hey.
and you can follow me. I just looked you up, by the way, and I just sent you a friend request on Instagram. But art, Greeny art photography, I do it all. I do photography, I do videography, I do artwork. I got my hands in a whole lot of different things. I'm just doing a lot of projects right now with an intent to do a expo at the start of the year. So I'm trying to build up some art pieces so I can do my own exhibit. So look forward to that. All in all, like my man said, trusting in God, because that's the vision. He knows more than what I know. All I can do is all I can do.
So, like I said, I'm here just fostering dreams, connecting, putting people together in the same genre. They didn't know that they knew each other through all spirits, and you see how that worked out. So y'all can take that wherever you take it. But you can see me anywhere it is. All I am is fostering dreams, without a doubt. So my next venture is to get into this business consulting, and it's scared to get hot and heavy. I can't give you everything now because I always believe that if I pray for it now and get it where I need to get, then I can show you what the journey was afterwards. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That makes sense. Well, you guys heard it. No idea is a whack idea. These guys all got ideas and got multiple business adventures coming. So take the time out to follow them, learn their gems. And like I said, on behalf of Wheel Y, we appreciate each and every last one of you guys for taking out your busy time, your busy schedule to come on here and talk about the stumbling blocks and how it can help our culture take it to the next level if we work together and we rely on each other, and most importantly, we work together as a whole. We thank you so much, guys, for coming on the show, and we look forward to having you guys back again. All right, I am Shaq. We are Y. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Again, I am Shaq. We are Y. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. This is season 3, episode 12. You guys know we're gonna jig out. All right, drop that beat.